Hello everyone, Kristina here. Welcome to another video here at my YouTube channel. In this video, I will be using my Long Line Roses stamp set to create a wedding card. This is a card that I made for Audrey, Jennifer McGuire's daughter, who got married in July. And I actually shared the making of this card live on YouTube for my premium members. Just a few days before the wedding, actually. So if you are a member of my premium community, you might recognize this card or have already seen the creation of this card. So if you want to join my premium membership, there is a link down below in the video description, or just look anywhere around while you're watching this video and you might see a join button. You can click on that and you can join my membership. Okay, so this card is 5x7. And what you saw me cutting out is actually a printout that I created on my computer. Now, the, advantage of being the person who created the stamp set and designed it and illustrated it, I have the digital files. So I just digitally mocked up this background on my computer, printed it out, and then trimmed it out so that I could use it for this card. Now, if you wanted to make a card just like this, I encourage you to go back to the part of the video where you can see this sheet really clearly and just take a little screenshot, and then you can print it out and use it with your stamp set. So what I'm going to do is, in my stamp wheel, I have my 5x7 white cardstock, and it's in that top corner. I placed my template on top so that I could position the stamp, and then I'm stamping each image in some Versamark ink. I'm going to be creating a gold background with all of the images, so I'm stamping the stamps in an embossing ink. This time I'm using Versamark, which is a very sticky ink. You want it to stay sticky long enough for you to apply the powder. So after I had that stamped, then I applied my Gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. This is my favorite gold embossing powder. I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite shades, and it just never fails. It's stellar, and it always has a really nice, fine, detailed line. It's perfect for this imagery on the Long Line Roses. So after I had my first row stamped, I then moved that paper back into my stamp wheel, up into that corner, and I rotated it so that I could get to that corner of the card with this larger image. I used an anti-static powder tool to prep the area just like I did before, and then I applied some Versamark ink to that stamp. So what I really love about creating a background like this is that if you wanted to, you could create a bunch of backgrounds like this all at once just by stamping each segment and then taking out that paper out of the stamp wheel, put a new paper in, and leave the stamp on the plate of the stamp wheel or on the door of your MISTI, and then you can stamp it on another card at the same time. So if you really wanted to maximize your work when you're doing a very time-intensive background like this, you absolutely could. So I went ahead and stamped the rest of the background. I'm actually not going to show you all of that because it took quite a bit of time, but I really just rotated that card around and moved the stamps until I had everything stamped and heat embossed. I then took the congratulations greeting from that stamp set and I stamped it onto some white cardstock. I stamped it in that same Versamark ink and then applied gold embossing powder. I really tapped the paper right there, kind of encouraging that powder to really stick to all areas of that greeting. Hit that with my heat tool until everything was smooth and melted, and then I set that aside. I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending onto my background using Tattered Rose Distress ink. Now, I had received a little sneak peek of Audrey's wedding gown, and it was the most beautiful pale blush pink with flower details. So I really wanted to sort of create my card so that it looked a little bit like her wedding gown. So I just thought this was super pretty, and that tattered rose shade was perfect. So I ink blended that onto just the edges, concentrating that color on the edges. And then I used a paper towel to wipe off any of that distress ink that might have remained on top of that heat embossing. I then used one of the dies from the coordinating die set to cut out that congratulations to a nice rounded bar. And then I grabbed my A7 thin frame size, and this is actually the in-between size that's sold in the more thin frames die set. And I used that to cut out a gold frame to go on the outer edge of the card. And then I used some heart dies from my Essentials dies set. And I really wanted the nice chubby kind of rounded heart right there in the center. So I'm going to save those other hearts for a future project. And I'm only going to be using this small little heart. I puzzle pieced it back into that negative from where I cut it. And then I used that same blending brush from before just to add that tattered rose color all over this heart. I really wanted that same pink to come into play. So I had all my pieces ready for my card, so all I have to do is start assembling it. I'm first going to adhere my background to a note card. This is a 5x7 folded card. And I'm just gluing that down with some Tombow Xtreme adhesive. It's my favorite tape runner, and it holds this card design to the folded note card really well. I then took some removable adhesive, temporary adhesive, and put it on the back of the interior piece from that frame that I cut. It's just going to be on the card long enough for me to adhere the frame. I applied a very thin line of glue around the edge of that rectangle. And then I was able to place my frame right over top and have it line up next to that rectangle. And this just really kind of takes some of the guesswork out of getting the frame positioned just so on your card. So after I had the frame there, then I just removed that inner rectangle. Took some thin foam adhesive strips on the back of that congratulations. And I also put those little thin strips on the back of the heart that I colored pink. And then I placed both of these onto the front of the card. I used a T-square ruler just to help me get that congratulations on there really straight. And then I put the heart right beneath it. So this is the finished card. I thought it was so super pretty, and it really did kind of mimic the look of her wedding dress. And it was such a beautiful wedding. I just loved celebrating this young couple as they start their life together. It was a really fun weekend. Thanks so much for watching. All the supplies I used for this card are listed down below in the video description. And thanks so much for watching. I will see you in another video very soon.